I'm just introducing very, very shortly the MSDS methodology that you can, if you're interested, read on the book or see even some video presentation on the Lens platform. And this has some peculiarity because we developed for the MSDS method some specific tool for the clothing system. Okay, so this is, we say, apply to the clothing system. In overview, we have different phases. We start from strategic analysis, and in the strategic analysis, of course, we do something that is related to both product, services, and the mix of product and services. And we said in relation to a given satisfaction unit, to have clean clothes in a given context, or to be able to wear. So it's not to design a cloth, okay? This is the point. Nevertheless, we have an innovation diagram. You will use it not to examine the existing offer, but it can be used to examine the existing offer. So what you are offering right now. And there are some characterization label to understand whether you are already in the direction of an SPSS or not, or you are just offering a product. So this could be interesting. The same, you can use it for analyzing competitors. Okay, so to understand where there is a share of market that could be, or a position, yes, a share of market or something, somewhere where you can position your where your offer fruitfully. And so again, you position, and you can use some label that are into the tool to profile your the competitors. All right. Then we go on, and another thing that you will find in another tool that you are going to use, not this, is to make a qualitative assessment, environmental assessment of the system. Okay, you learn something about life cycle assessment. To make life cycle assessment on a system level, when you may have more than one product, could be a hell of a job. Even for me, that I've been doing this for almost 30 years. Okay, so it could be quite difficult. Okay, it could be made, but if we don't have the time, if you don't have all the capability, don't get lost. There are some checklists, some tools that can help you anyhow to come out with some good results, you know, because we don't know. So some support tools are useful, and these are the checklists. And the checklists in this case are related. You have a set of checklists for each of the strategy that Luca just presented. All right. So we understand whether the existing system, the point is to understand whether the existing system has some criticality in relation to the strategies. And this is important to understand right after whether one of the strategy is more important than the other, is a priority. Okay, so indeed, after doing with a set of checklists, the analysis of system life optimization, resource optimization, toxicity, and so on, the 6 criteria, you come out with the understanding that maybe one for sure will be with a high priority, another one will be with medium, and then maybe someone will know, and so on. Okay, but this is important because you are able then to better address your design action, and you move from one to the other. Then we move to exploring opportunity, where we have 2 tools. One is what we call sustainability design orienting scenario. I will run this scenario before you start the idea generation. It will be in a while. But another tool is are the idea boards, environmental idea boards that are within the SDO toolkit. Okay, the scenario you will see, and nevertheless, it's a polarity diagram with some vision. So for each of the 4 quadrants, we develop with a process that we are doing since we have been making scenario building since quite some years, indeed, even this. And this was made by a degree thesis student that then made a publication, was involved in a EU funded project. So it's there. Indeed, it was made with the support of a teacher, but being a student, and so it's even nice for me to use it and to present it, and it's on the Lens website. And then after that, what you can use is these idea boards, SPSS idea boards. Luca will present you that in better details. Nevertheless, for each of the strategy that we saw, you have there inside the guidelines, okay? So what he said, right? And what you do, you simply read the guidelines. They may support you. You may click on some example and you can be inspired by the example. Already he shows some example, all right? And then they are kind of a digital post-it. So you copy and paste and you make a brainstorming and you generate idea. Up to a system level, we will come to this. And this will be made for the 6 strategy, all right? You will be making for 4, not for 6. So the point why we develop the 6, why we have the 6 strategy and the 6 idea boards. The point is that we as designers sometimes, you know, we get in love with one idea and then we don't move from that anymore. Okay, we get stuck there. No. We have indeed, maybe you don't see, I didn't mention to go even here fast. We call the phase exploring opportunities. When you look at design methodology, usually you go from brief and design strategy to concept design to detailed design and engineering and then communication and so on. We have exploring opportunity. That means that before having, you know, being focused on one idea, one concept, this is a divergent moment in which you are asked for each of the strategy to take out all of the possible idea you may have. They don't need to be coherent with each other. This is not the moment to have this. Every idea should come out, okay? We have to make radical innovation. We cannot be lost. So we have to harvest the most possible. And then I will show you how then to converge to one concept and so on. But the point, yes, is to go strategy by strategy. Is a way to help us to, as I said, harvest the most of the idea, okay? They may not be, they should not be necessarily coherent one with each other, not at all. They could be divergent. We don't care about this at that stage, okay? Divergent moment. And then there is another tool, the innovation diagram that you see before in the concept part, and you will use this to select the most promising idea from the idea table that you have developed. And you will position this into this diagram. Then you will select, you will define, maybe you will generate a few other ideas thinking, okay, this is related to maybe individual. What about if this idea goes to collective or something like this? And so it's still a tool to generate idea, but the end point indeed is to find out the cluster of idea that could be the starting point of your concept, okay? They need to be coherent with each other. You cannot put two things that cannot be into one concept, but it's the starting point, all right? So you can again profile this. So you have some label that you can put, so you can define what type of SPSS, what kind of product, who is the owner of the product, what type of service, who is delivering the service, you know, all characteristics that are linked to SPSS, all right? This is a concept description 4. You will use even this. It's simply, it's very easy. This is a PowerPoint into which you describe satisfaction unit, the title, you describe your concept as it is that far. And then you will see who is the provider and other things, okay? As you see there, but this is textual, so there is no anchor here. And then when this is made, usually we go, I'm not showing all of the tool, okay? There are several other tools into the methodology, the key tools. And this is another one you're going to use, the system map, okay? So when you have this idea, you start building your configuration of the actor. So you start positioning the actors. There are some rules to do that. We will explain this next lecture, okay? Not today. You will indicate the interaction that are information flow, financial flow, material flow, labor flow, and so on. And you will highlight if there is a partnership, if there is an ownership, and where is the ownership. These are key important issues. And then we have other tools for service innovation. This is interaction table, but it's just I go fast on this. It's not you are not going to use it. Someone is using Blueprint, but if you're not expert in service design, I don't lose time in saying this. Another thing that you are not going to use, but it's very important to do that, is to make a check of the quality of the concept that you have developed. Okay, so using again a toolkit, the one that Luca will present, you can use this to check. Maybe you develop two concepts. What's the best concept between the two? And again, in a qualitative way. So you have the same checklist and you compare this to the existing system, all right? And why you do this? Because sometimes maybe you have improved something, thinking that in relation to a given strategy, this is good, but this is a problem for, you know, you optimize the life of the system, but this is, it needs more material, it takes more material. So it could be a problem related to that. But then you can find a compromise, or maybe if you have a priority, you can take a decision. Oh, I can go through that because nevertheless, system life optimization is a priority. Okay. And this is shown then in a radar diagram. A radar diagram has the same 6 strategy, show the priority, and show the black sail, show the improvement. It could be a radical improvement. It's double plus is when it's the most outside circle, then plus, then nothing change is in between, and maybe something going worst, and it's in between. So for example, there we have a medium priority for that criteria and an incremental improvement. And there you have a space to write why there is an incremental improvement in relation to your concept. This is quite usual when you have to present one concept in, you know, one shot to the CEO of the company, or if you are co-designing with other stakeholder, the value of the concept and so on. Then of course, there will be the time to design the clothing, but we will use another methodology for that, and we will present this later. And then there are, when you go on in detailing the concept, you can use some of these same tools. So for example, the system map will be with much more actor, much more detailed. The interaction table will describe action by action, which is how the service works. And there is a line per each of the actors and so on.